The announcement came on a Tuesday, Galactic Standard Time, delivered with the same bureaucratic efficiency that had characterized human participation in the Galactic Council for the past 47 years. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood at the central podium of the Grand Assembly, her expression neutral as she read from a simple datapad. The Terran Federation hereby formally withdraws from the Galactic Council, effective immediately. All human personnel will be recalled within the next 30 standard days. We thank the Council for the opportunity to participate in galactic governance and wish all member species prosperity in their future endeavors. The silence that followed was deafening. 3,000 delegates from across the galaxy sat frozen, in their seats, mandibles clicking, tentacles writhing, and respiratory systems cycling rapidly in what could only be described as collective panic. High Chancellor Vex Thule of the Zalarian hegemony was the first to break the silence, his crystalline voice resonating through the chamber's translation matrix. Ambassador Chen, surely this is some form of negotiation tactic? The recent trade disputes can be resolved through proper diplomatic channels. Sarah's lips curved into what humans called a polite smile, an expression that had unnerved alien diplomats for decades. This is not a negotiation, High Chancellor. Humanity has made its decision. What the assembled delegates didn't understand, what they had failed to grasp, despite nearly 5 decades of human participation, was that humanity had never needed the Galactic Council. The Council had needed humanity. It had started small, as these things always did. When humans first achieved faster-than-light travel and discovered the vast galactic community, they had been welcomed with the condescending benevolence typically reserved for newly spacefaring species. The elder races, the Zalarians with their crystalline perfection, the Mordaki with their hive-mind efficiency, the ethereal Vashtai with their centuries of accumulated wisdom, had expected humanity to fall in line, to accept their place as junior partners in galactic civilization. But humans were different. They didn't just adapt to alien technology, they improved it. They didn't just learn alien languages. They developed universal translation algorithms that made communication seamless across species barriers. They didn't just join existing trade networks. They revolutionized interstellar commerce with innovations that none of the elder races had conceived. The Zalarians' quantum computers, considered the pinnacle of galactic technology, were suddenly obsolete when human engineers developed bio-neural interfaces that processed information at speeds that defied conventional physics. The Mordaki's collective intelligence networks, refined over millennia, found themselves outperformed by human AI systems that somehow maintained both efficiency and individuality. But it wasn't just technology. Humans brought something else to the galaxy, an inexplicable ability to solve problems that had plagued the Council for centuries. The Sirius sector conflict, a territorial dispute that had raged for over 200 years between the Halkanori and the Grex Dominion, was resolved in 3 months when human mediator David Rodriguez introduced something called baseball diplomacy, AI concept so alien yet effective that it became standard practice for interspecies negotiations. The Great Plague of Vega 7th, which had stumped the galaxy's best xenobiologists for decades, was cured when human doctor Elena Vasquez noticed patterns in the pathogen's behavior that resembled something she'd seen in Earth's common cold viruses. Her solution saved 17 billion lives across 4-star systems. Economic crises, resource shortages, technological stagnation, Problems that had seemed insurmountable suddenly became manageable when humans applied their peculiar blend of logic, creativity, and what they called thinking outside the box. The other species began to depend on human solutions, human innovations, human perspectives. They took it for granted, assuming that humanity would always be there to fix what couldn't be fixed, to see what couldn't be seen, to imagine what couldn't be imagined. They forgot that cooperation was a choice. The withdrawal began with small things. Human trade vessels stopped offering their revolutionary shipping solutions. Human scientists ceased sharing their research. Human diplomats no longer proposed the creative compromises that had held the Council together through countless crises. Within a week, the Zalarian Stock Exchange crashed when human-designed trading algorithms were suddenly absent from the market. The Mordaki discovered that their manufacturing efficiency dropped by 37% without human process optimization. The Vashtai found their century-old philosophical deadlocks returning with vengeance as human perspective and wit were no longer available to cut through their circular reasoning. The Kepler Station incident was the final catalyst. When the massive space station, a joint venture between 12 species, suffered a catastrophic system failure, the combined expertise of the galaxy's greatest engineers couldn't find a solution. The station, home to 4 million beings, was 12 hours from total life support failure when the emergency council session convened. "Where are the humans?" demanded Chancellor Vex Thule, his crystalline form fracturing slightly under stress. "They withdrew," reminded Councillor Thekma of the Grek's dominion. "Remember? We voted to censure them for their aggressive trade practices and cultural imperialism." The irony was bitter. The very qualities that made humans indispensable, their tendency to disrupt established systems, their refusal to accept impossible as an answer, their insistence on equality rather than deference, were the same qualities that the elder races had found threatening. Now, as Ambassador Chen walked out of the Grand Assembly for the last time, her heels clicking against the polished floor with military precision, the Council faced a harsh reality. The galaxy had grown dependent on human innovation, human problem-solving, human refusal to accept limitations. Behind her, 3,000 delegates sat in stunned silence, contemplating a future where problems would remain unsolved, where impossible would once again mean impossible, where the most complex challenges would no longer be met with the casual confidence of a species that had learned to split atoms before they learned to fly. As the assembly hall doors closed, behind the last human representative, High Chancellor Vex Thule spoke into the silence, his voice carrying the weight of dawning realization. "What have we done?" The question echoed through the chamber, unanswered and perhaps unanswerable. For the first time in millennia, the Galactic Council faced a problem they couldn't solve. How to function without the one species that had taught them that every problem had a solution. In the void left by human withdrawal, the Council would learn that some dependencies once formed could never be broken. They would discover that respect and cooperation could not be demanded, only earned. And somewhere in the depths of space, humanity continued forward, carrying with them the one thing the galaxy had forgotten to value, the unshakable belief that tomorrow could always be better than today.